Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Honestly Speaking with Pritam Das. Today we have our guest, Miss Irina Tsoi. Irina Tsoi is the director of language schools, which are located in two language schools. One is located in Kansk, which is a kind of big town in Krasnoyarsk region, Russia. Second one is in Krasnoyarsk city itself. Irina Tsoi is a graduate in teaching English from Krasnoyarsk State University. She is also a TESOL diploma holder from Trinity, London, UK, and also Delta from IH International House, London. Miss Irina has 20 years of teaching experience. Miss Irina, welcome to my show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Pritam, to this show.
Yes. Irina, talking about the current situation, recently, first Oxford, then Cambridge, then Pearson, they have kind of sanctioned Russia, but from supplying books, and they're no longer going to conduct exams in Russia. So when you
Right.
saw this news for the first time from Oxford, how did you feel like? What went through your head?
I couldn't believe first because it didn't get to my mind how education is connected to politics. So for me, these have always been two different things. And yeah, I was shocked. And then the next thought was, okay, we're not working with Oxford. Thanks God that we're working with Pearson, and we still have access to all the materials.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, a few weeks later, like a week later, Pearson also stopped.
Right.
We don't have access to educational platforms of Pearson.
So how long were you in partnership with Pearson?
It's been, well, we've been working for quite a long time just using the books, but we've been partners for 3 years, more than 3 years.
Okay. So they were so what does this partnership include?
Yeah, this means that we've been using their books to teach students. They helped us in choosing the books, choosing the programs for the students, and they gave us materials how to teach students how to use the books, and some extra materials and platforms and apps for the students to listen audio materials. And then our students prepared for Pearson exams, and they were supposed to take these exams at the end of academic year. And now we're in this situation.
Yeah. So what alternatives do you have right now?
Right now, we're still finishing the academic year. We're still using the books, and for the next year.
So you're allowed to use them until this academic year.
They are paper books. They're printed.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
we're using them,
okay.
of course. The thing is that we cannot order new books. Well, if they're in stock in Russia, we can order from shops in Russia. But for September, we usually need a lot of books, like more than they have in Russia, and they're not printing for us, or they're not selling these books to Russia these days. What alternatives we have is we have nothing left but print the books ourselves, or copy the books, and create our own materials. That's what we can do.
Yeah, actually, that was my second question. You see, you have been teaching English for 20 years. If you see 20 years is a long time to understand the subject through inside out. So, do you think that Russian teachers, like yourself, you're an experienced one, and there are many experienced ones. Do you think that Russian teachers are ready to kind of create their own material, like where to get rid of the monopoly they have in Cambridge or Oxford, because you have been like blindly following them? I'm not saying this is good or bad, but I'm saying that, like, what if you just create books which are like sanction free? Even no country can sanction those books because these are our own books. Do you think that Russia is ready, or Russian teachers are ready to, or experienced enough to create their own books and materials?
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that Russians can create the books. And in our school, we already have a small, like a brochure, a small book for teaching reading, because we used to use a different book, but we realized that this book doesn't suit us, and we don't have any special materials for teaching reading. And we created our book and we use it for young learners to teach them reading. So this is one thing. And then if we don't have access to other materials, then we definitely can create our own materials. Like what we used to do before we started using Pearson and Oxford books, what we did is literally painted and drew pictures, but that was before the internet. Okay, now we have computers and internet,
Yeah.
but we understand. Sorry.
No problem.
But we understand how it works.
Mm-hmm.
We understand how it works, and there are enough qualified teachers, enough professionals to start working in this way. It's just before we had access, before we used before we used Pearson books and Cambridge and Oxford, we didn't have motivation to create something new, something of our own. Now, I think that will be a good chance to start working.
Yeah, so it's like a blessing in disguise, Now, I
Yeah.
always believe, that a country, especially when you talk about languages, I tell you a very frank kind of example and my own experience was that, when I grew up, I learned like all these nursery rhymes from UK, like London Bridge is falling down.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy, and I just liked that. When I was a kid, I was like 5 years, 4 years old that time, and I was like, London Bridge is falling down. I just loved that. I just loved the rhythm and everything. But when I grew up, like I'm from India, right? So when I grew up, when I became like a little mature, and when I understood the politics of the world, then I was like, why on earth did I like that song? And why on earth were they teaching us these songs? I mean, this nursery rhymes, right? Why couldn't we have something of Indian indigenous, nursery rhymes, like where they talk about something about Delhi or Bombay or Ganges or Himalayas or something like that, When I grew up, when I understood the politics, I thought like this. So that's what I think, when I saw the masses, like for the first time, the news that Oxford is going to kind of sanction Russia. What went through my head? I thought, oh my God, congratulations. Congratulations, Russia. Look, this is your time to be self-dependent and stop depending on other countries. I'm not saying this from a political perspective or like a political term, or I'm not defaming the West or their education. I'm just thinking that, why? You can have something about Russia, it's such a beautiful country. Why not something about Volga River? Some nursery rhymes, why not? You see, like you have like very experienced and educated and adequate teachers. Why can't they start something like this? Maybe this is a time, to think.
Yeah.
And go ahead and do these things.
Yeah, I agree with you here. This is the time. Before that, we just maybe didn't need, because we had ready-made materials, everything.
Right.
They gave us. So
and you're like kind of totally dependent on them,
yeah.
right? And you
right.
just didn't look for any alternative.
Right.
Yeah. So talking about alternative, you see, like I understand that in Russia, the Cambridge exams are like very prestigious exams, like when you have a kind of Cambridge certificate C2, you may not be very fluent in English, but if you have a C2 experience Cambridge certificate, you're like, oh my gosh, I have a C2 experience Cambridge certificates. And or maybe something like that. And what is the alternative to those kind of international exams can you see in the foreseeable future for Russians if they're not going to continue?
If they're not going to be with us, then my question is, why do we need them at all? Because
you need them because just
like
to,
international exams. I mean, this
no,
Cambridge exam.
I think this also motivates the students. So when somebody gets B1, okay, my next is B2 to learn the language.
But we have Russian exams in English, which students are prepared to take. So we've been preparing for a long time students for Russian exams in English.
Mm-hmm.
And we have good results. Students who want to continue studying languages, go to universities, to language departments,
Mm-hmm.
they all have to take Russian state exam. And we are preparing for this exam. And all these Cambridge exams,
are you talking about YEGE?
YEGE, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to go to a Russian university, all these Cambridge exams or PSM exams, they don't mean much. Like they are not taken into consideration. The most important exam is the Russian one you have to take. Not the. You need Cambridge certificates or IELTS or these exams if you want to go to study abroad or to work abroad. Or
Right.
just for motivation. Yes, you have this level of English, this motivates
Right.
you. But again, we inside our school, we always hold exams for the students, like inner exams inside the school for for giving them their level of English. Like they know.
Right.
We have our own certificates of our school. Of course, they are not like international, not Cambridge, but
Right.
to know the level, to know your level, and to see where you are moving and how well you know the language. This is done every year in our school.
Yeah, but like I kind of have a kind of adverse opinion in this. It feels a bit demotivating factor for the students, because irrespective of what kind of certificate you give internally inside the country, but if they get something from the UK, because they have been kind of overshadowed the other English education around the world, right? I mean, talking about Cambridge, and so when they have signed some kind of international certificate, they always feel much more motivated than the local certificates. So I mean, probably that's something to look for the future. How you cope up with all these things. I'm sure there will be something, but right now it seems a bit demotivating. So talking about motivation, are you in contact with the students regarding these topics? I mean, and that they're no longer continue with this Pearson and all, and other discussion going on?
No, we don't discuss.
Or parents.
No, we don't discuss much right at this time, because we're not sure about the future.
Mm-hmm.
And right at the moment, things are going like nothing has changed for the students at the moment.
Right.
Except that they are not taking exam this spring. So in terms of studying the language,
which exam in this
having classes, like international exam,
okay.
international.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has changed for them. Maybe in general, as I see for the students, you mentioned that they will be less motivated, right, to study the languages because they can't take these exams. But I don't see it as a big problem right now. Maybe in the future we'll understand something, but right now, no, that's not like the main motivation, because the main motivation goes from the inside, not from the exam. They need to take this exam, this international exam. These international exams are kind of additional motivation, but the first is your interest to know something about the world, about the language, to communicate, to see more and to know more than you can know in just one language and living in your country. Even now even more, I think, when we can't travel, And it used to be in the Soviet time, by the way. Learning languages was even kind of how to formulate. It has always been in those days when the borders were closed, like in these days. Knowing the language and learning the language was something of like prestigious, if you can say that. So if you know the language, a foreign language, it meant that you know more about the world.
Yeah. Okay, you're like one level up.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. And
after we had all these materials from Pearson, Cambridge, and Oxford, and they encouraged people to learn English. Yes, language schools, they got more and more students because of this, because English kind of became popular and available for everyone. Even if you don't know, it's just kind of fashion to learn the language, to know English. What I see today, maybe fewer people will see the value of knowing the language. This can be true, but those who understand, they will work even harder.
That's interesting. So you said, so what do you mean to say basically is the quality of students is going to go down?
Maybe, yes.
Quantity is going to go down.
Quantity is going to go down.
Yeah.
And one more reason for that is that in this economical situation, some parents will not be able to afford paying for the languages, and they will see it as something unnecessary, as we can't travel abroad, as why do we need to study English, and we don't have enough money to pay for that. They'd rather choose sport than English, for example. But for others, it will gain more importance knowing the language, and they will be even more motivated. So we will have fewer students, but more motivated. That's also good.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. But I mean, that's you're like saying it like perfectly. It's kind of a sometimes it's like a fashion statement, you know, to know a language. Okay, I know this language, irrespective of whether you use it or not, doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I know this language. I can say like bonjour and some bit of like French or something, or English. You know, it's like a fashion statement. You're correct. And even as you know, that I teach kind of, you know, the communication, and I have some students who are, you know, who are learning business English, and they're not affected at all, but they're a little demotivated because they're like kind of cut off from. They have a lot of sanctions, all right. So their international clients are going out, they're leaving the country, or like, and they're like, do I still need the language? I say, you see, this is not the end. Come on, I know. I think it's just a matter of time, and everything is going to be better. So yeah. So I think, yeah, please.
And I have an opposite example. I have a student who's studying English, an adult student, and he told me now it's even more important to know the language, because all his contracts and all the filmings, he makes films. And sells them everywhere on the internet platform. And he says now it's even more important for him to know the language, because there will not be a Russian version of everything that he used to have before. So for him, it's he's more motivated now.
Yeah, it depends on the sector also. All right. So as you said, that the quantity of students is going to go down and the quality is going to go up. So if you look at it from, I mean, since you're the owner of two schools, if you look at it from the business perspective, that's not a very good news for the future. So what is your take on this as a director and as a businesswoman, entrepreneur?
It can be both. I mean, on the one hand, the number of students can go down, but the price can be higher. Like, for the classes. The teachers will be more qualified. Why? I'll tell you why. Because these days, lots of teachers who used to work abroad, Russian teachers, they're coming back to Russia.
Really?
who are
That's some news I didn't know this. Yes, sorry to interrupt. Yes, please go ahead.
Highly qualified. And on the other hand, teachers, foreign teachers who used to work in Russia, they live in the country.
Right.
So there will be highly qualified teachers. They will be in demand, and they will be able to give quality teaching, and the price can be higher, and they'll be ready to work with motivated students and who are ready to pay. The numbers will go down, but the quality will go up, and the price probably will go up. And then one more thing that we are going to do is to offer new not languages, what do you say, to diversify business. We are going to teach not only languages but also primary school subjects like maths and Russian. They've always been, so we can go into that also. So
what do you mean to say is, from business perspective, you're not affected, and it's just so we'll find out a way, right?
Yeah, I'm sure in that. Yeah, we will.
Yeah. So talking about this new teachers, influx of Russian teachers coming back to their own country, and the foreign teachers are leaving, that's something interesting for me, and that's something new for me. I didn't know this. I know several of Russian teachers and professors teaching around the globe, and lots of foreign teachers and professors are teaching in Russia and different parts of Russia, in fact. And do you think that there will be a kind of, as you see in your part of the world, they have a kind of demand for for foreign teachers, not because they're qualified or they're like native speakers, just for the fact that they're foreigners. You see, so I have observed this a bit, so do you think that when Russian teachers are teaching Russian students, the quality, as you said, the quality will go up from the teacher's perspective, but from the student's perspective, it's like they'll be like, oh, so he's just a Russian, or he's just a Russian, and what else can they give? Like you're also the same, like, Miss Irina, okay, so whatever you're giving, and she is the same, right? So do you think
I can give even more sometimes?
That's true. No, I'm talking about this, native speaker factor will no longer be there.
Native speakers will no longer be here, you mean?
Yeah, that factor, the selling point of this, because what I have seen, what I've experienced in your part of the world, they're like very inclined towards the native speakers because they feel that they're going to have the right pronunciations or right techniques or grammar. And it's just a kind of hypothetical thing. I know this is not right. I know that there are great Russian teachers or professors, right? I know that, but from the student's perspective.
Students are mostly curious just to see someone different, someone from a different country speaking English. Here, it's curiosity and interest that leads them to
learn English. Yes.
Yeah. And I know some students who choose the teacher not because he's a professional, but because he just speaks the language. And then they come to us. And when I ask who was your teacher, I understand that the teacher was just, he was not qualified as a teacher. Just sometimes this also happens. They're just attracted by, I don't know, nationality, language, or what. Oh, he speaks English.
Yeah, he's not Russian. He's a native speaker.
Yeah, he just because he's not Russian. Yeah, just because he has a different skin color. Oh, and he will teach me. But the results are sometimes. I'm not saying that always. Sometimes with such teachers who are not qualified, who don't know how to teach the language, they can speak, but teaching is a different thing.
Right.
So results are not always good.
I think you should just put this thing inside the student's head, because it depends on the students, right? We know the reality because we're into the education business and we know the reality. But on the ground level, from the student's perspective, it's a bit different. And like coming back to the same topic about this sanction and everything, what I have noticed is that what I've noticed from the new teachers, who are like just going to be teacher, probably they're just graduating this year, and probably from next year they're going to be teaching, and they must have had, I mean, probably still have lots of dreams, like they'll go to London and they'll do CELTA like you did, and they'll travel different countries. But those dreams have kind of shattered a little bit. I think shatter is a very strong word, but still a little bit maybe. So what is your thoughts on this for the new teachers? Because see, you have like 20 years of experience, and somebody who will be freshly graduating this year or next year will be like 21 or 22 years old, right? So it's like when you started teaching, they were like just 2 years old.
Yeah, just newborn.
Yeah. So what would be your advice to them?
Just to change the focus, maybe. Yes, I know that we as teachers who work and studied in Russia, we want to travel, we want to communicate, we want to see the world. I understand this. But in this situation that we have, maybe just change the focus a little bit. I mean, not to look outside, but inside what I can do here. And what motivated me to study the language. I've lived up to this age. I've graduated from university, for example. Yeah, I'm 22, 23. What motivation inside I have? So stick to this maybe, and then we'll see how everything will happen. We don't know the future, and this motivation, which is inside, not the outside. Not that I know I will travel, I will study there, but that I'm just interested in languages. I'm interested in people, and I'm interested in more people, my students, to know this and to see it from a different perspective. Just to focus on that. And we, our senior teachers, are always ready to help and to teach. There are in our school, for example, there are young teachers and senior teachers who are always ready to help. And actually, when I see that the person is in love with what she or he is doing, and he wants to share the knowledge, I'm even more enthusiastic to help this person, this teacher. So just to go inside, what motivates you?
Yeah. Talking about, please go ahead.
When I started teaching, or when I started learning language, what motivated me was not the dream that I could travel or see someone or talk to someone or study abroad. No, I didn't dream of this. It's just I was interested in knowing how it works, different languages, how they work, and how people learn, and how I can make it easier for the children to learn the language. And I've always liked comparing my language and English language and finding new things in my own language,
right,
which I didn't notice before. Now that I know English and I know what it is like in English, I can understand my language better. And that's a great feeling for me. And I understand not only the structure of the language, but the meanings of the world, and the lots of things, even poems, even literature is from a different perspective. You can see that. This is what motivates. And traveling and communicating is it's like a bonus, good thing.
Right. That's something very interesting you have said. So do you, like as you're at Delta, do you also train teachers, or do you organize this kind of, teacher training programs or something like that?
yes, we started organizing this kind of things. Like today, we had a teacher training session here in Krasnoyarsk.
Wow, beautiful.
When I taught, and I taught the teachers how to. Some things are obvious to me, and I thought, I thought. But now, when I observed a few classes, and I realized that this needs to be improved, and we just talked today about planning a lesson, how effectively plan a lesson, what is needed, how to make a lesson more interesting, how to bring the book to life, not just follow the book 1, 2, 3, open the book, but how to make the lesson more interesting and motivate the kids. We talked about this today. Yeah, I'm ready to share this. I'm also learning how to do this. Once I know how to teach students, now I'm learning how to teach, teachers. And I always like it because when you do this, when you try, it's the same as teaching kids. When I first started teaching the language, only then I realized that I know the language. And now I teach teachers, and only this gives me a feeling that I know how to teach. When you can explain this, if you understand this, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand what you're saying. So I mean, when you do it by yourself, then you understand how good you are. So that's something beautiful you have said, actually. So I think it's new teachers who are like maybe a little demotivated this time can definitely contact you, right?
Right, sure.
And
I'll be happy.
Yeah. They can find you on Instagram, or I don't know if Instagram is going to work or not in Russia, but they can always go and check. Speak Up International
website.
website.
Speak Up International.
Yeah, surely.
You're welcome.
Yeah, all the teachers. All right, so my next question is about a bit different from the topics that we have been discussing. It's about Russians, students or people's, their interest in British accent. For some reason, I have noticed that there's this love Russian accent. As I said, I have a student who is actually a teacher, by the way. So she was talking about this one day, and she said, "Oh, I find British accent very nice and lovely. I wish I could have British accent." I mean, I said, "How tall are you?" She said, "I'm 5'5". So can you try to be 5'7"? Yeah, I have to practice, and this maybe or may not be. So accent is like this, okay? It's like something to do with your vocal cords. You just cannot just go and change your accent overnight, okay? So what I feel is that what I see the accent as, you just, instead of focusing on accent itself, you should focus on on your pronunciation. For example, like if I have to give an example, like for example, the word later, later. Okay, so you can say it like, if you're British, like you can say it like later, something like the way the British say, or maybe you can say, or maybe the way Russians say it, that is later, like with a very strong R sound, maybe, and maybe you can talk like American, like later, like R, like that, you see. So do you come across this kind of students who want to focus on a particular accent altogether?
No, in my school, no. We just teach British accent, and I know the reason why, because all the books that we're using, they are from Great Britain. That's why it's kind of easier maybe to teach this, because all the listenings that they have in this British accent. So maybe that's why we teach British. That's the reason why. I can't say that in our school there are students who no, and I always say that you should know this is correct, you should pronounce this correctly, but most of you, like, I don't know, 99% will still have Russian accent, and
Exactly.
that's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. You can get rid of accent if you try hard, but you should know the reason why. Why would you do that? I don't see the reason why.
Yeah. As long
if
as
you
you're,
want to, if you want to go and live there, and you want to be taken for a native, maybe that's the reason. Maybe you should try hard, but I don't know.
Yeah, the question why I asked was, I was leading to this thing that, since a lot of Russian teachers will be teaching the students, there are going to be a vast difference now, especially in the accent. You see, because in Russia, what I see is that even teachers do not have a kind of a neutral accent. They have, like, I'm not talking about all the teachers, okay? I'm talking about like 50%, 70% of teachers, they have a very strong this. So
Russian accent.
Yeah. So what is your suggestion for the teachers and who feel a little, complex, inside them, because they're not talking as the students are listening in the listening topics or in their audio files? Because now teachers know that this is not something correct they're teaching at times, like even the R sound, but there are a lot of things, and they do not have the material as well to teach the students right. If they don't have it, if they cannot access it in the future.
Now, English is spoken by other nations as well, but in the world. So we can listen to different accents as well from different countries. Like you live in India, you speak with slightly different accent, and in Australia they speak. So what we can do, we can try and teach like pronunciation, basic things in pronunciation, so that they understand how to pronounce sounds. And but in terms of listening, we can use different sources from different countries, not only from the UK, and so that the children understand that English can be different, and what you speak is also different. It's a Russian one, I mean the Russian accent. You can't get rid of that unless you try hard, and that's okay, unless people understand you.
Yeah, as long as they understand you, and I mean, that's a very important thing, because I've seen students and just focusing on the accent. Even teachers, they find a bit complex, within themselves, that, oh, I cannot teach this accent or something. And I just want to tell the students and the teachers, all of them, is that it's okay to have a bit of your own mother tongue accent, as long as you are being understood and you can continue with the communication in a conversation. You're fine. It's okay. It doesn't matter.
Right. We're speaking now.
Yeah, exactly.
We both don't speak received pronunciation, British accent, but the main
or
thing
American
is happening.
Whatever,
we can communicate. And the main thing is happening, communication.
This is very important. Because but coming back to our own topic, like sanctions and all, like the current situation, so we should not just focus on just being like somebody else, just rather be yourself and just try to focus on your pronunciation. What I mean to say is, instead of saying, you cannot say later, is fine. You cannot say later, is fine. You cannot say later or whatever, is fine. As long as pronouncing it like something on that bracket is fine, but you should not pronounce it as later. You see? So that's what I'm trying to say. This is what I want to tell to the students and teachers, all of you. Well, coming back again to the first topic is this sanction and everything. So my question is, Pearson, like you were you're like very much dependent on them, and now if they kind of, I didn't like it, honestly. if you ask me. And I didn't like the fact that,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you have been loyal. Students have done nothing, right? Why to punish the students, right?
Right.
So
Also
out
don't
of
understand.
nothing, just if you don't do something, go and do politically or economically. It's fine, right? Students, what is their fault? I'm not trying to blame anyone, but I'm just seeing the rational perspective. So, Irina, what do you think that if Pearson wants to come back and maybe everything is sorted out like after 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever, and they want to come back, oh, hi, Irina, so let's get to the business again and this and that. How do you feel? How do your emotions be? I want to. It's fine because this is a podcast. You can just speak your heart and mind out, and just how
We
would your
all
emotions be?
feel like, and we now feel like we've been got disconnected. Me?
Yeah. Please, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
hear
Now,
me?
I
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we already feel like we've been betrayed or something. We've been neglected. Why they stopped giving us access to the platforms? It's a kind of unpleasant feeling. And if they come back and say, okay, we can supply
And they
the
want to
books
continue.
to you. We want to continue. The question is, will we need this? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe by that time we will have something of our own. Maybe, I don't know. The attitude has changed, our attitude. And it depends on when they want to come back, and then maybe we won't need them. I don't know. Maybe this can happen.
Yeah.
Or they will definitely, they are losing a lot of the market right now. They're not selling books to us. So will we come back to what they had before? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure. The emotions will be different.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is something which I didn't appreciate, honestly, I mean, to hammer the students. But again, this is what it is. So your message to Cambridge, Pearson, Oxford, directly from your heart, your message through the channel.
Thank you for helping us through all these years, for giving us materials and supporting us. Maybe that's time for us to start doing something on our own. And thank you. This doesn't feel pleasant, of course, but that's our chance to develop something new, to create something of our own. So that's what I can say.
Okay, fine. All right. So a message to the new teachers, were the budding teachers from Russia. If you want to speak in Russian, it's fine.
Focus on what is inside the country, inside you, and what motivated you. And try to share this, to pass this knowledge to the students, to the feeling that you have, to make them like motivated and be in love with what you're doing. That's a focus mostly on what is inside the teachers, new teachers.
All right. So yeah, so in the end, I want to ask a few things about your school. If you would like to talk about your school, how many students do you have, and what kind of languages are you teaching, and a little bit about your school.
Right now, this year, we have more than 400 students, and we're teaching English.
I mean, 400 in both the centers, or?
Oh, no, in one. I'm talking about Kansk. In both, we have more than 500 in both centers, in Kansk and Krasnoyarsk. And the languages that we're teaching are English, mostly English. Then we have Chinese, and we have also Russian. Russian to Russian students, not to foreign students.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been working for almost 20 years already. And with the current situation right now, I don't feel that we have fewer students. No, they all continue studying. They all still motivated. Everything is going fine. And we've been working, we have more than 10 teachers.
In both?
Here, in both, like, yeah, about 15. And now, as I see it, now we have to, me as a director and our senior teachers, we have to focus on the teachers, on teaching them, on educating them, and motivating them to work, to teach better. That's my idea of what to do. So again, we will look inside the school. We will do things what is already inside, make something better inside, not go outside. We can't travel to, we can't take kids to educational trips to Great Britain as we were planning this year and as we did previous years. We can't do that. But what we can do is focus on quality inside.
Right, right. So that the future is bright. All right.
Because that's what we,
that's please.
This is what I like doing. I've told you that traveling and all these things like a bonus, okay, great things. But even before I had them, I always did what I'm doing now, like studying the language and teaching the language and getting to know different cultures. So we continue with that. Nothing has changed.
That's so promising, and you're so optimistic. And I love the spirit, that you're not like grieving over it, but you're like actually looking for some new ways to continue and to even to improve the education and your school and your teachers as well as your students. I'm so glad. Ms. Irina, thank you for coming in my show, and I wish you the best. And I hope that
Thank you, Pritam.
Future gets even better with or without foreign countries, education.
Thank you, Pritam. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.